I tested through 3 different experiments if belief actually creates your reality. And in this video, I'm going to show you, just throw it around sometimes, that belief creates your reality, if that is actually true. That's what I'm going to understand and see in this video by having one easy, one medium, and one really hard experiment to see if this actually works in real life and not just something that feels cool to say. I'm a breakthrough specialist and I work with creators to make more impact, to make more income, and to express themselves more in a more authentic way. And I'm also the owner of More to Life clothing company, where we help people live a limitless life. So that's why I want to make this video and explore more to see if you can actually unlock your mind, and if belief actually creates your reality, to understand that we can live life in a completely different way than the way we're doing it right now. Before we go into the first experiment, I just want to talk a little bit more about what belief actually is and how we can think about it. The way I usually talk about it is internal stories. It's the stories that you keep on telling yourself. That's your belief. So if you believe I can make $10,000 a day, and you actually believe that when you say it, it feels right, it feels like truth to you, that's a belief. Anything that you can say out loud and it feels like a truth, that's your belief. That's as simple as it is. But most of the time we don't question our beliefs. We don't try to change our beliefs. We just simply accept them for what we think is true until something happens in our life. Maybe something really bad happens in your life. You're forced to change your belief. You're forced to change your belief because you need money now. You really need to make money by the end of next week, because if not, then you're not going to have money for rent. And from that, you change your belief because the experience changes your belief and you realize, oh shit, I could make money. And now your whole life just changed in one day. But what I think I've realized is that you can change that belief at any time. And that means that if you can change your belief at any time without having this really bad time in your life or an experience that happened, then it means that you can actually have a limitless life. So that's the experiment we want to do today.
So, if belief creates your reality, then the theory says this: if I can make myself believe something, that it will happen, then it will happen. That's the theory. First, we need a desire. We need a want for this thing. Then number 2 is that you see that it is possible based on what you know, and that means that you have a belief that it's possible. You have a belief that you think that you can have that thing. So that was all we wanted, was to make yourself believe that you can have it right now. And then if belief actually creates reality, then you should have it now, right now. At least that's the theory.
Level 1 is pretty simple. I wanted an ice cream. That's my desire. My belief is I can get an ice cream right now because I have money in my pocket. There's an ice cream store right in front of me. So that means I can have this ice cream right now. And in this case, it worked because my belief created this reality. I wanted an ice cream, I believed I could get it, and I got it. So in the first experiment, it worked.
This one was very easy. Next one.
The next level was actually the thing that inspired me to do this in the first place. When I launched my last drop of my More to Life hoodies, I wanted to see if I could just do it without strategy. I didn't want to do any strategy because it makes me bored. My creativity just flows better when I have freedom and a little bit of structure. And the structure in this case is just, okay, if I can make myself believe that I'm going to have a successful launch in my clothing company, then it will be successful. That was my idea with the whole thing, and this has inspired this video here. So what I did, instead of looking for a strategy, okay, I need to do this many reels, this many ads, whatever, I just sat down, asked myself, what do I need to do in order to believe that I will have a successful launch? The desire was to have a successful launch. So first of all, I need to understand what a successful launch was. And at this time, I had around 300 people, between 200 and 300 people watching every story that I uploaded on my Instagram. So I figured that totally, I probably had 500 people watching. So 500 people would see the launch itself. So I realized with some quick maths that if I could sell 30 hoodies, I would have a really successful launch, because that meant around 5% of the people who watch my stories would buy. So that would be a really, really successful launch for me. I started doing that. So I asked myself, okay, what do I need to do in order to believe that I will have 30 or more sales in this launch? The things that started coming up was like, okay, I need to create Instagram stories, and I just did that. And then I reached out to maybe 3 or 4 people. I was like, hey, I remember you wanted a hoodie. So I did that and I sold some of there, and it was just amazing how I sold. The first day that I launched, I sold one hoodie, and I was like, oh my god. But I sat down and I asked myself again, what do I need to do in order to believe that this is going to be a successful launch? I really wanted this, and I really believed that this was going to work. So I just continued and I meditated and I asked myself, what would I need to do? And then I made a video, an Instagram reel on it. I continued. I was just making a little bit better with a story about the brand. I was explaining what it meant to buy. If you do, it means that you believe in a limitless life, that you believe that there's more to life. And it's like a trophy for yourself that you choose a different life. So on the last day of this launch, I had done everything. Every time a thought came up, I wrote it down, and that was my to-do list. It wasn't a strategy, it was just from my mind, from meditation. And I was just asking myself, what do I need to do in order to believe that this is going to be successful? What do I need to do today? What do I need to do now? I just continued. It was just coming and coming. One day it wasn't that much, and then the next day there was more. And by the end of this, it was absolutely crazy. I was looking at my sales and I couldn't really believe my eyes. And when people were asking me just like 1 or 2 days before, I was like, oh my god, I don't know how this is gonna work. But we were much more than successful. We were more than successful. I was selling hoodies, I was selling t-shirts, and even after the launch was finished, even after everything was done, the marketing was done, people still continued to buy. And when people got the hoodies home, people started buying another hoodie. So the launch became super successful in terms of conversion rates, in terms of income from this launch. That was the first glimpse of, okay, belief might actually create the reality. But this was business. This was pretty easy because all I needed to do was just, okay, I'll continue until it works. But what if you don't actually have the belief? What do we do then? That's the next level of this test. And the next test is a little bit harder. It's something I don't have belief around because I haven't even built the belief. I don't even understand how to have the belief that this is gonna happen because I never had it happen for me before.
The last one is a hard one, probably because I've told myself that it is hard. The hard level is to find a why. And if belief actually creates reality, then what's really missing here after 26 years, it's my belief. But I realized that maybe there is some information that I don't understand or something that I don't know about this because I have no real experience in this. I've never had a wife, so I'm gonna call some friends who has great relationships, who I feel like they've found a partner in their life, and see what they say.
So the first thing I did was talking to people who had a nice marriage, a really good partner. I called some friends. I also met up with some other people, and I asked my good friend GPT to understand a little bit more how I can find my partner. Hey, can you please tell me why I haven't found my life partner yet?
Finding your life partner can be such a unique journey, and sometimes it's about timing, alignment, and being
No. Why I haven't met mine, because you know me.
Honestly, it might just be that you're still in the process of aligning with the right person. You're growing, evolving, and maybe the universe is just waiting for that perfect moment when everything lines up.
Okay. But how long am I going to wait? I'm 26.
I know it can feel like the waiting game is tough, especially when you're ready to find that person. But 26 is still a great age to explore and grow. Sometimes it just takes a bit more time, and that's okay. Just keep doing you, and the right person will come along when you least expect.
All right, okay. Thank you so much for this answer, but can you give me like a really honest and blunt answer to why this hasn't happened? Is there any beliefs that could be in the way?
It could be that deep down you might have some subconscious beliefs about relationships, or maybe a bit of fear of losing freedom or making the wrong choice. Sometimes it's just about timing and growth, so trust yourself in the process. It's all gonna align perfectly.
I still feel like you are very nice to me, so can you just be completely honest.
In the spirit of total honesty and our deep chats, it might be that you've been setting really high standards for yourself and for a potential partner, which is absolutely fine, but sometimes that can make it a bit harder to connect. There's a tiny bit of hesitation in fully opening up or trusting that the right person will come along. Just keep being you and stay open.
All right, great. Interesting. GPT thinks that the universe is aligning. So maybe I should just trust that, right? Or, as I know, I do have some limiting beliefs in this, and I need to put my suit on and see what's actually happening here. If belief actually creates reality, why do I not have a wife by now? Why the f am I still single? Where's my wife? I mean, I sure believe she exists, but maybe I don't believe that I am ready for her. Or maybe that I just have to fix 10 more things before she shows up in my life. This is a little bit annoying, I'll put it here. We're all dressed up for this wife to come in. If the theory is correct, maybe it's not about finding her, maybe it's about removing the beliefs that is keeping her out. What do you say about that? I'm sure a lot of men can relate to me when I say it's this thing that we want to build our empire before we meet the one. But at the same time, we have a belief that we want someone to build the empire with, but at the same time, we don't believe we're worthy enough to have someone when we're still lost, trying to figure things out, not where we want to be financially, physically, emotionally. So that could be a big ass problem. When I think about this, I understand that there's a lot of beliefs. For example, I don't go out a lot to meet people at all whatsoever. I'd rather hang out with the people that I like, and I enjoy my family, my friends, my close circle. But at the same time, I would never think that I could find my wife on a dating app. So again, the logic doesn't add up. So the beliefs are pushing logic away, and now it won't even work. I think that the belief might be that it has to be hard, or that you have to be perfect or have everything figured out before she shows up. I know one belief is I want it to be special. I wouldn't want to meet her in a shitty way. That's a very limiting belief, isn't it? Like, it has to be magical, special. You know, I've watched too many rom-coms. The second one is that I have to be perfect. I have that belief, definitely. And I thought that I had to be more successful to find someone. I just do it the way that I do it with clients, right? So we go here and we say, what's the desire? So let's just say the desire is a super aligned partner. That's the desire. So then the question is, here I am. Why do I not have a super aligned partner right now? Okay, I can come up with a few things right now. Is number one, I would never think that I could find someone in a normal way. I have very high standards. Also number three, I think, is I don't go out. So it's hard for me to believe that I can find her by not being out and about. So what do we do here? What would make me, here's the kicker that GPT would say, what would make me believe that I can find an aligned partner? And this hurts to say, but that would be me not putting my standards down, but putting the standards down on how I will find this person. That is my number one. I think that's the number one most important thing, is letting it start not having to be special. That's my number one belief that is stopping me, I think. Yeah, because I've always had this idea that on my wedding day, there's gonna be this cool story. But I also realized that if I'm stopping the start, that it has to be in a certain way. And I also don't even believe that I can meet someone in that way, because I'm not even putting myself in any situations where it can happen. So I'm literally just sitting there praying for a miracle to happen. And I think, honestly, I'll be honest, it would happen sometime, but that could also be in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, because it hasn't happened yet, so I don't really have the belief that it's gonna happen, right? Boom! So the only thing I need to do now is build the belief that it can happen. So that means for me is going out. That means dissolving the belief that it has to be special at the beginning. Keeping my standards, I'm definitely keeping my standards, that's just the way it is. And maybe taking a look at myself and seeing if I'm holding the standards that this woman, I want her to hold. So that's a very interesting question, if I'm ready to be the man. Yeah, I think that's it. I also don't want to put too much pressure on this, but you're probably gonna see it on my Instagram. I'm this person. If I'm finding a wife, that's also a limiting belief, is that I wouldn't want this video to make me have the wife, because that would be pretty crazy. No, that would actually just validate my point. It's that I'm having mental blocks, I'm having internal resistance to finding my wife. It's not like I don't think I'm good enough, or that I don't have the capability of attracting someone. I 100% believe in that. So the problem is just the belief, honestly. I think I'm pushing away my person because it has to be and look in a certain kind of way. So yeah, this feels really good, really exciting, really interesting. Again, desire, where you are, what would make me believe that I could be here right now? What am I doing, or how am I stopping myself from getting this outcome, this desire? It's always blocks, it's always resistance. It works the same way everywhere. And I know I've tested this thing, but I know I can literally see it and feel it right now that I've been stopping it myself. So does belief create reality? I think so. Mostly it's biased because I've seen it in my clients all the time. Because if a belief is running someone's life all the time, it's constantly pushing something else away. And what I've been seeing in my clients, and also I can see it now in this video that I made with the wife thing, is that we're just literally pushing away what we actually want by having the fears around it, by having the stories, the internal stories that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, I don't have time for it, I don't want to have that responsibility, that will make me lose my freedom. These internal stories are always keeping us safe. But the cool thing about this is if we change one of these stories, the reality can shift like this. But the stories we always need to remember that the stories are always there to protect us from something. It's something that we don't think that we want, that we're protecting ourselves from. I will continue to use this to make more impact, more income, and to express myself in a more authentic way. I would really appreciate if you give a comment down below about what you like, what you don't like, so we can make more of these videos, because this is really fun for me. So conclusion is, belief does not replace action, but it does drive it. So if you have a belief and you have a desire right here, the action becomes effortless if there's no resistance in between. And that action, you know how you do something sometimes and it doesn't happen in the way that you thought it would. Something happens and you're like, oh shit, it didn't work. But then something else happens and it continues, and it magically, you're there anyways. This is what I believe, that if you have a belief and you have a desire and there's no mental blocks, it just happens. But if you have these mental blocks and you're trying to force yourself through to the desire, that's where it gets. So if you can align your beliefs with your desires, that's when you're aligned. That's literally what alignment means. So when beliefs and actions are aligned, that's when life feels effortless, it feels easy, it doesn't feel forced or in any way, shape or form. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.